Hey everyone, in this video I want to tackle a word problem that we can solve using linear equations. So let's take a look at this word problem. Let's read it first. So it says, you currently have $100. You work at a pizzeria that pays you $20 per hour. How many hours should you work to obtain a total of $360? Okay, so right away, we have a few things in this word problem. We know that we're starting with $100. Our job pays us $20 per hour. And in the end, after a certain amount of work, after working a certain amount of hours, we want to have $360 in total. Okay, so whenever you have word problems like this, or whenever you come across any word problem, you want to come up with a few examples. So first, let's say hypothetically, so let's have our hours here and our money here. Let's say hypothetically, we worked 0 hours. So if we worked 0 hours, how much money would we have? Well, we would have the 100 we started with, since that doesn't go away. But then, remember, we get $20 per hour. $20 per hour. How many hours did we work? We worked 0 hours. So what's 20 times 0? That is just 0. So in the end, if we work 0 hours, so if we don't work at all, we have $100. Okay, so what if we work 1 hour? Then what does that come out to? Well, there's the 100 we started with, and then we're going to add our $20 wage times how many hours we worked. So we worked 1 hour, so 20 times 1 is 20, and 100 plus 20 is 120. Okay, and let's do it again. Let's say 5 hours. How much money would we have if we worked 5 hours? So, okay, again, $100 is what we started with. Plus, on top of that, 20 times how many hours we worked, which is 5. So 20 times 5 is 100. Therefore, 100 plus 100 is 200. So if we worked 5 hours, we would have $200. And we could keep going until we get to $360. But there is a more mathematical approach to find out how many hours we should work. So let's go back to the question. The question asks how many hours? So the answer to this question is the number of hours. That's what we're looking for. We're effectively looking for how many hours until we get to $360. So let's notice a pattern. Let's see if we can identify a pattern in these little expressions, or these little equations that we wrote down here. So in all of them we have 100. So they all start with 100. Plus, then there's a plus, and it's the $20, it's the wage, $20 per hour, times the number of hours worked. So they all have a few things in common. They all have 100. And they're all adding 20 times. So times, we'll just write a times how many hours worked. So let's actually, instead of writing 0, 1, or 5, let's just write hours. And what does this equal? This equals our money, our total amount of money. Okay, so we wrote a little equation here, and let's just rewrite it again down here. So our money, how much money we have, equals 100, so the money we started with, plus 20 times how many hours we worked. 20 times hours. Okay, so that's a nice little equation. Let's go ahead and represent these with letters. So money, let's call money the letter M. And let's call hours the letter H. So let's rewrite this just to represent our letters. Our money, or M, equals 100 plus 20 times H, so 20H. M equals 100 plus 20H. Okay, and remember, the question asks us how many hours. So we are looking for the letter H. So H is what we're trying to find. And in the end, our money has to be $360. Okay, so our money has to be $360. That's the key. So our money has to be $360. So therefore our M, the letter that represents our money, should be $360. So let's substitute $360 for M. So $360 for M equals 100 plus 20H. Good. And let's go ahead and solve for H. Let's solve for the letter H. So as we would algebraically, we would get rid of the positive 100 by subtracting 100 from both sides. That cancels that out. And we are left with 260 equals 20H. And then to isolate the H, we would divide by 20 on both sides. And H equals, so H equals 260 divided by 20. And what's 260 divided by 20? That is 13. So H equals 13 is our answer. And again, what does our H represent? Our H represents the amount of hours we have to work. So we have to work 13 hours. And that is our answer. The answer is 13 hours to get to $360. And we can go ahead and check that real quick. Is that true? If we work 13 hours, will we get to 360? So let's go ahead and maybe just continue this chart we had going on here. So if we work 13 hours, well, there's the, and let me just make some space. So if we work 13 hours, there's the 100 we started with, plus our wage of $20 per hour, times 13. And if we evaluate this, what's 20 times 13? So 20 times 13 is 260, plus this 100. So 260 plus 100 is 360. And that is absolutely true. If we work 13 hours, we will get $360 in total. So I hope this video helps whenever it comes to word problems and figuring out how to put them in a mathematical formula to help you solve the problem. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.